Hi! OMG! OMG, I'm a little bit nervous, actually. Um, I've always thought about making a YouTube channel just, like, for myself. But I've always, like, gone about with, like, should I not? Like, what's the point? Yada yada, all this stuff, right? But I recently started a podcast with a good friend of mine, and it was just so fun. And one of my main concerns, actually, as like vain as it sounds, is like I didn't want to be perceived so like I don't know, like I didn't want people to be looking at me in ways that I couldn't control. So whatever that means. But while I was editing our podcast, I was like, oh, this is like not even crossing my mind that like, oh, do I look good here or do I look bad here? Some angles like are not as flattering as I wanted them to be. All I was really paying attention to was like how funny we were and how much fun I looked like I was having. So I was like, you know what? Maybe take a crack at this, cause why the fuck not? And like literally why the fuck not? Like I don't know, like I've always wanted to, and I feel like on Instagram I spam a lot, or I used to spam a lot. I'm trying not to. But every single thought that I would have, I just like felt the need to share it immediately, especially if it was something that I found funny. But I'm trying not to do that as much and trying to write it down on my notes app, especially since I started this podcast with a friend, and I've just been able to like write down all of my thoughts and be able to like bring it up in conversation with her. And it's been really like weird to say, but it's been like really therapeutic in a way, because it's just like fuck it, like we're just doing something for fun, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I really grew up in a household where doing things for fun wasn't necessarily like something that you focus on or something that you put a lot of energy into. But I mean, school is out for the semester, and I am working a job, but it's not a very mentally taxing one, so I find myself being very bored a lot of the times. And to quell that, like I picked up like playing Sims again, and playing a lot of Tomodachi Life, and playing a lot of Legend of Zelda on my Nintendo Switch. But I like wanted something more. I wanted something that I could really like sink my teeth into intellectually and engage with other people on. And even if like there is no engagement on here, which I don't expect, like I don't give a fuck. Really, this is really just like at the bottom of it, foundationally it's just for me and for me to like have something to do. Like I really like editing. I found out recently while I was editing our podcast. Sorry to mention it so many times, but like that is what led me to here. Um, yeah, I was like finding so many new interests that I was really into that I always knew sort of in a way that I would be interested in if I tried it, but I never got around to doing it. I always thought about like other people's opinions, family opinion, just like the whole lot of it, and it seemed like at the time that my happiness was worth sacrificing and my curiosity towards a certain achievement or a certain passion was not as valuable or important as other people. And um, I just like I wanted to put that to rest, because I'm not trying to live in that truth. And if I live like that my entire life, I was telling my therapist, I was like, I'm never going to be living for my freaking self. And it's unfair to me. And it's unfair to others, because then I'll hold a lot of resentment towards the people that I lived a certain life for that I didn't even want in the first place. So, here I am. I also don't know what I want to make this channel into. I thought about doing like vlogs at certain points, or like just doing sit and talks like this, or maybe like playthroughs or like video essays. I'm working on one actually. I'm using the document that I'm writing on for the video essay that I plan to upload. I'm using the dock lighting to illuminate me because my main light is off. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it would be fun. So, and so far it is. I love the sound of my own voice, first of all. So this was always like a no-brainer for me. I always knew in some way, shape, or form that I would be talking a lot in my young adult life. Because let's just dive straight into it, okay? It was not ideal, I guess, but like, I feel like a lot of people have this growing up, is like that fear of failure or fear of being chuggy or like cringy or whatever. But I'm trying to detach that from my life because I'm realizing that if I keep waiting for my life to start, my true authentic life to start, then I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, my day-to-day life is just like filler. And when you start thinking like that, it's very easy to get very depressed very quickly, apparently. Nobody told me. But finding out yourself is a hard lesson to learn, but a necessary one. So yeah, I grew up very sad, very like not able to express a lot of experimental opinions, even if it was just like very childish, like, oh, what if this is this way and what if this is that way? And like as a kid, obviously you're gonna be wrong, but there was never room for growth. It was a lot of like being shut down or told that things are the way they are because they're the way they are, and not to think too deeply into it, which is so crazy to tell a kid, first of all. Like, imagine telling your kid, like, don't think about it. Hello? I'm like 7 and I'm like learning my fucking, like, I don't even know. What was I learning at 7? I'm like learning punctuation and shit, and you tell me, like, hey, like, you just gained the ability and capacity to read? Maybe don't do what reading tells you to do and have forward thinking and creative insight, and just allow those thoughts to sizzle and dissipate and be embarrassed and ashamed when they come up, and hide them from the world. So that was a lot of my experience, and obviously not ideal. So that's why I ended up being in therapy at the ripe age of 11, 12, something like that. My first therapist she was definitely an adolescent therapist. I literally remember one session, I was telling her, like, how much anxiety I was feeling, how depressed I was, and, like, how I felt the need to control everything in every room that I was in, and it was like if one thing was off in the way that I planned my day-to-day to be, everything was off and everything was messed up and everything was fucked up, and, like, it was just like an all or nothing mindset, which later found out it was OCD. But in that moment, she was like, well, have you tried doing the Superman pose in the bathroom before, like, big presentations and stuff? And I was like, low-key, how to wiki could have taught me that. You know what I mean? Like, I could have looked that up on google.com, and I would have reached a better answer and solution to my problem. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, my insurance is paying for this, and I'm wickedly and abnormally aware of my parents' financial situation, and I'm sitting in this room and I'm like, oh my god, my dad worked how many hours to pay for the insurance that covers this session, and this bitch is telling me to do fucking Superman pose in the bathroom? What if myself in that bathroom? And then my second therapist, she was also very nice. My parents love her. My family loves her. Family uses her a lot. Still now, I think one of my sisters still goes to her. But she's also very much like an adolescent therapist. I had her for a long time. I had her for think 8th grade through my high school career and the first year of my college, and then like the first half of my sophomore year in college, right? So I had her for a while. Like she knew me, but was also very adverse to like diagnosing me with things that were very obvious that I had, and kept delaying medication and stuff like that, which I guess like makes sense if you're like above or below, below the age of 18. It's like, hey, maybe this is just like adolescent changes, and maybe you'll be okay when you grow up. That was not the case for me. So at that time, I had one therapist that I had for a long time. Second therapist from that place that she referred me to, and on top of that, a psychiatrist. So the therapist that I had for a while, she was like, hey, I'm so sorry that you want to like kill yourself and stuff, and I'm so sorry this is the lowest you've ever been in your entire life, but I'm gonna do you a favor and like kind of like discharge you from my care and kind of like shift how you feel comfortable in terms of who's taking care of you in terms of treatment, and just hoist you onto this new team that also ended up not being very good for me. But the therapist from the new facility that she referred me to was very nice. The psychiatrist, she was okay, but she always sent out her scripts late, which led me to end up in the psych ward. But I do plan on making a whole other video just on that, because in the psych ward, obviously, you're not allowed to bring your phones, or at least the one that I went to. So they gave us journals, and I wrote in that journal, I literally think I wrote like 50 plus pages in that journal front to back, just like about the whole experience, because while I was in there, I was like, I can't forget anything, and I wrote it all out in Crayola washable marker, and it really was a feat. It was very interesting. I also read a ton of books in there. And then I got out, and I ended up seeing a different therapist, the one that I see right now, and different medication specialist, the one that I see right now. And life's okay. Life's looking up for the most part. Okay, so I'm entering my junior year of college right now, right? We're on summer break. I can 100% tell you, without a doubt in my mind, the fall semester of sophomore year of college was the worst experience of my entire life. Actually, the fall semester in general was good, but it was bad. It was also like horrendous in so many ways, and I've never actually been lower in terms of depression. But and then like the first, actually no, the whole sophomore year was shit. It was just, what I'm thinking of is my spring classes for that semester, the semester that just passed, were very easy, and they were very enjoyable. So I had a lot of fun in terms of education, and I wasn't very stressed, but my personal life was. So it was like not a vibe. Very unfortunate. I'm still reeling sometimes on how I really survived it, because it was like genuinely so horrendous, and I feel so bad for the therapist that I have right now that was working with me through this. Literally every session with her would be like, so this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and A through Z happened, and I'm living my worst life. And then the next session, it would be like, hey, so that situation that I told you about, it actually fluctuated in such a way that has brought me immense pain and suffering in ways that I never thought were possible. When I told you I was at rock bottom like 2 weeks ago, I'm actually below rock bottom. I think I've actually found a new rock bottom, and I'm gonna plant my flag there. You know what I mean? So it was like very harrowing. I felt very bad for my therapist at that time. She was very helpful, very nice. Shout out. But I think I'm gonna end this here. Thank you for watching.